Who is Don Beach? He's the
Granddaddy Tiki.
I don't know what I'd be doing if Don hadn't opened his place. Definitely be doing something else, that's for sure.
It's the whole concept of escapism. All that themed architecture and that fully immersive experience, that all started with Don.
Who is Don Beach? I don't have the slightest idea. He was playing a character.
He's an impresario. He's associating with Hollywood people.
There's a little mystery, there's a little intrigue, bootlegging.
All of a sudden, we had liquor back. I developed rum drinks.
He thought of drinks in a way that nobody had.
He's the inventor of the craft cocktail.
They tasted like nothing anybody had had before.
He started creating secrecy in recipes.
Mix number one, mix number two. So nobody knew exactly what those mixes were.
I don't think it would have been a successful business without my mother.
So did Don marry Sonny because they were in love or because she suddenly owned his business?
She gave half of the shares to the mob. They became half of the company.
They said, Don, this is what's going to happen and you're going to like it.
It's crazy. It is the craziest story.
Don's legacy is everywhere. A lot of our cocktails are all Donn of Beachcomber cocktails.
The legacy is just like, do you? There was no template for the kind of lifestyle that he was attempting to live.
Well, let's have another drink.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, thank you guys for joining me here to talk to the Donn of Tiki. I was just talking to Alex, you know, he was telling me that you guys are both like a stone's throw away from Disneyland. You know, as you can see, I'm wearing my Enchanted Tiki Room shirt, you know, so when I was 10 years old, I saw the Tiki Room for the first time. My mom took me to the Tahitian Terrace all the time. She stole all the menus. I have, you know, believe all the stuff we have. And then being born and raised in Las Vegas, the Aku Aku at the Stardust Hotel, we went there and drove by there many times. And in my collection, I got the Book of Tiki, you know, by Tashlin, plus many other books. And being in Las Vegas is the ninth island. So, and you ready for this? I grew up across the street from Frankie's Tiki Room.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I was born at UMC across the street, and then I grew up across the street again in Scotch 80s, that neighborhood.
So, wow.
It wasn't always Frankie's Tiki Room, but boy, when it turned to that, you know, my college days there, we frequented there many, many times. So when I saw this email and I knew about this documentary, I'm just like, and I was telling Alex, I'm a closet Tiki fan because most people don't understand, you know, the culture or anything. So tell me, let's get started with that. Alex, where did your fascination come with Tiki culture?
You know, as a kid, I was really into like kind of boats. My family sailed, and I loved stories like Swiss Family Robinson and shipwreck stories and Gilligan's Island, and I think that kind of led to this fantasy of you know, being lost on an island somewhere. As I became an adult, friends introduced me to Tiki, which I thought was kind of a cheesy thing, until I learned more about it and realized that it's actually it's a very particular thing. Like there is cheesy Tiki out there, sort of Party City Tiki, but Tiki done right is actually a very magical thing, a very elegant thing, and has very well-made cocktails and food, you know.
It's got to be retro Tiki, in my opinion. It's got to look, it's got to have that 60s, you know, cocktail culture look to it. That's how I identify as Tiki. How about you, Max? He says you grew up in Anaheim. So where did your influence come from for Tiki culture?
Yeah, so I grew up in Anaheim. I mean, probably my first Tiki experience was at the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland as a kid.
Yes.
Which, you know, I still love to this day. To be honest, I wasn't very into the Tiki scene and specifically the cocktail scene until we started this movie. You know, Alex kind of pulled me in and said, hey, we should explore this a little bit. And it really grew on me. Visually, it was always very interesting. I liked that aspect of it, but I've learned a lot about the cocktails since we started this.
I was going to say, Max, the Tiki bar culture, where did it begin? This documentary kind of points the direction, trying to separate fact from fiction and legend.
Yeah, so the first Tiki bar was right in Hollywood, California. That was Don Beach's first Tiki bar. And, you know, most people don't know that, right? They associate it with Polynesia or the Caribbean, but it's kind of a mashup of all of these different things. And Don Beach was just the right guy to bring all of this stuff together.
And Alex, putting this together had to be a labor of love. Archival footage, photos, cocktail experts. I mean, was this a labor of love? I mean, this was fascinating.
Yeah, it was definitely a labor of love. Sometimes it was a labor of love and hate. There were sometimes where you'd hit a wall in the editing process and just be like, how are we going to make this into a story? But the story really presented itself. We kind of let Don tell his story through his own words and just tried to support it as well as we could with the right visuals and the right backup with historians and cocktail experts that we could find. Um, yeah, it really was a labor of love. I mean, finding all the archival stuff, we had it. We were fortunate enough to have Phoebe Beach send over an archive of all of Dawn Beach's stuff. She sent it over to Tim Glasner, who is working on a book about Dawn, with the caveat that he had to share it with us for the documentary as well. And Tim was great. Tim was very organized and kind of organized all these photos and documents and contracts into this hard drive and sent it over to us. And we were like, holy cow, this is so much good stuff and nobody's seen it. And we worked with him a lot on sort of the skeletal structure, I'd say, of the story, and then kind of took it from there once we started doing interviews and started getting our own sort of sense of Don's story from people who knew him.
Had to be overwhelming. And Max, I love how you use Don's own words and use of animation. I'm Gen X, so I thought of Rankin and Bass right away when I saw that. And so when it came to his own words, he's not just an entrepreneur. He had kind of a shady past. I mean, he's almost like a Hemingway of tiki culture, isn't he?
Yeah. Don, he's one of these guys who had about 3 lifetimes worth of adventures in his lifetime. You kind of go through the stories, and as we were learning, it was like, okay, so he was running rum, he was in the mob is involved. He served in World War II, he had a Purple Heart. You kind of go down the list, and he did an incredible amount of stuff in his life. That was one of the things that was really fun, was going through and kind of unpacking all of his accomplishments. But I will say one of the things that really interested us was the stuff that was not well known, right? And that was largely his personal life, because the other stuff had been documented to some degree, but we were really interested in kind of what made him tick.
Well, I always think of the man who shot Liberty Valance. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Alex, I was fascinated with the whole tiki cultures with cocktails, and that he had his own secret drink mix by numbers. I mean, talk about proprietary.
Yeah, well, once Don's bar was a success in the pretty early in the 30s, after Prohibition, people started copying him left and right. And one of the biggest ways to copy him was to, you could copy his decor, you could copy the clothes he was wearing, but what people were doing were stealing his bartenders. And Don knew that he had to find a way to keep the recipes secret even from the people who were making them. So he started coding all of his bottles with, Don's mix number 1, number 2, the rum number 4, and you'd go into this kitchen and everything was just a bottle with a number on it. And the bartenders that started working for him then, they were only learning these codes. So, people would steal these bartenders. They'd say, hey, we'll pay you twice as much to come work at Zamboanga Joe's down the street. And the bartenders didn't really know what to do because the bottles weren't coded. It was a really, really crazy idea, but ingenious idea, because it did actually stop as Jeff Barry does in the movie, it stopped the hemorrhaging of bar talent that was leaving his bar, because it became pointless to steal his bartenders. His bartenders knew how to make his drinks his way, and there wasn't really a way to get those drinks from them after that.
Well, Max, so tiki culture went out in the 70s along with disco, right? At the end of that. So, but then it did. So it's like the same timing. But then it made a roaring comeback in the 80s, and especially here in Las Vegas. We got the Golden Tiki, which is one of my all-time favorite places. Only place you can get a Dole Whip outside of the Tiki Room, by the way. Also with Frankie's Tiki Bar. And then, Vegas is the ninth island, so anytime we have more Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders living here outside Hawaii than anywhere in the world. And I love how you recruited also Jason Smith, a buddy of mine, here locally. So there's a huge tiki culture in Las Vegas. And I understand that you guys are going to be bringing the documentary here too.
Yeah, yeah. Vegas has really become a tiki hotspot in recent years, and the film is going to play on Sunday, July 13th at the Beverly Theater in Vegas. It's a matinee show, so
Great
1 p.m. should be a lot of fun. And yeah, there's a great tiki scene there now. And Don Beach actually has a little bit of history going back to Vegas too. He built the original Aku Aku.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, and that burned down. So the Don Beach version, I think, burned down the first night it was open or the second night it was open, something like that.
Well,
but there is a little Don Beach connection there.
That is too cool. Well, I know when I go to LA, especially around, Century City and places like that, I used to go to Trader Vic's a lot. And Alex, do Trader Vic's still exist? I think there's a handful around the world or still.
It does, yeah.
There's one in Atlanta.
There's one in Atlanta. There's one in the Bay Area. There's a few that are international. One in Japan, I believe. And I think they are. I don't quote me on this because I don't know for sure, but I believe they are. The rumor is they're gonna probably open a new one in LA soon. So that would be really cool if they did.
I will be there, definitely. Well, gentlemen, congratulations. What an amazing documentary. I just love it. And I know you're going to make a whole bunch of new fans. And hopefully, if I can, I'd love to come down to the matinee. I'd love to come down.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hold a couple tickets for you.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with the documentary. And I'll see you this weekend. All right.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Jeff.